Hello, everyone. It's me, Fish, and I'm going to talk about Dominion 6 and the early age. This will be the pre-game video where I talk about nations and design and pretender and all of that malarkey. Um, it's going to be an early age game. I believe this is the one we're planning on doing. Um, and I found myself in a little bit of a pickle because I was thinking I would play Makona for Moria for a middle early age game. But as you can see, someone has already picked Makonnen from Moria. And another one I would pick would be Agartha, but that's also been picked. So, who to play? Well, let's look at a few creative pretenders for a minute. As you can see, I've kind of messed around, in part because I just enjoy designing pretenders. I don't know if any of them are particularly good. Um, but in the absence of those other picks, the two ones I focused on most are Therados and Ubar. Now, I really like Therados, or at least I like it thematically. I don't know if I'm good at it, or even if I entirely love the way it plays, because I'm not a huge pop kill guy, but I do really like Theranos just kind of conceptually. But well, actually, it's because I was in Zan's stream on I think Thursday, and I mentioned that I might do Therados, and he was mentioning that there were problems with free spawn rates. So I kind of decided maybe not, particularly because as I messed around with pretender designs, I didn't find anyone that I was particularly satisfied with. So I decided to go with Ubar. Ubar is cool. I like it. I think it's neat. It also will be dipping my feet a little bit into blood, which could be a useful skill to develop. In that Tianxi game, I didn't really learn to thug like I said I would. I just kind of threw horses at things, which worked mostly, but I'm not sure I'm entirely learning to thug here, but Shaitan are cool and scary and um I don't know, I think it could be an interesting option. So let's talk about the nation here for a minute. Ubar, Kingdom of the Unseen. I'm never sure how much I want to just read the lore description out to you. This is, as you can tell by the fact it's named Ubar, inspired by some of the myths of Ubar, the Atlantis of the Sands, and also Irem of the Thousand Pillars, Arabian mythology of Jinn and Shaitan and that sort of thing. So, we can start off by looking at the national features. We like Heat Scale 3. We've got humans and Jinn and a little bit of ghouls. Fire, air, glamour, blood, a little bit of earth, tiny amount of astral. Weak priests, but they have um, there's like a chance to have a guardian spirit with them based on Dominion, which is a pretty neat feature. You've got the hidden province ownership, like the Ba and in Femine. Um, you like Heat 3, so you're at Heat 3. You also really want to be at Magic 3, so you get Magic plus 1. You have standard forts, and then your forts reduce heat scale deaths by 1 step, which I don't know. I guess I don't think you get deaths from Heat 3 at from Heat 3, but you might get it from Heat 4. I don't know if you go up to 4 in the summer if you're at 3 already. Um so we'll start with the should we start with the commander roster or the troop roster? Let's start with troops. And we'll have to talk a little bit about the sites and stuff because there's it's a little complicated. The Arbaran Desert Warrior. He's a skirmisher, which is nice. He's undisciplined, but he's a skirmisher. Um, these are, I mean, they're all right. They're cheap as chips. They're massable. Yeah, I mean, they're undisciplined, but they are stealthy. The short bow isn't amazing, but they're that scimitar is better in melee than better than you'd think. Uh, the Ubaran soldier is not great, but he is a slave, um, which is nice, um, because it means he's cheap. And that is a lot of javelins, and you do have good fire magic. By the same token, here are slave archers. Um, like I said, hello, I'm a fire mage with a lot of cheap slave archers, and a nation with a lot of fire nation, fire mage. I'm gonna cast flaming arrows now. Um, the brazen guard is your more elite human troop, but still a slave. Um, they're bodyguard 3, which is nice. Um, but honestly, if you're playing Ubar, you're probably more likely to be doing the assassinations than defending. Uh, so I'm not sure how much you're really taking these, because I think if you just want cheap line holders, you're probably going for the Ubar soldier, and if you want more elite, then you're maybe going for your Jin. Um, the Ghoul. The Ghoul is cap only, but also in all wastes, so you're going to want to take wastes if you can. They're magic beings, which is a little tricky, and they're demons, which is, gives them demonic weaknesses. But they regen 50%, and uh, I believe they have a second spirit form, if I recall correctly. And they don't need to eat, so, and they have spirit sight. So these are all good tags. They're also fire resistant, poison resistant. I don't think you really have the death to like cast darkness, but if you did, there would be things to be done with that, particularly if you look at some of the other things. I mean, they've just got one claw. It doesn't hit very hard, but these are probably nice to mix into your front line and just kind of tank. Then here we are with the Ubaran Camel Rider, who is more of a backbone of your expansion than you might think. They're mobile archer skirmishers, like the other things. They're stealthy. Are their mounts smart? No. But they come with a little falcon or a little hawk. I think it's a falcon. Is the falcon good? I mean, not really. It's a tiny little bird, but it's a free tiny little bird that will spawn and drop into the back and disrupt the enemy formation, and then die, and then you can do it again. So that's a potent force multiplier. It's just the disruption and distraction for a little bit. Now we go to your cap only troop that you get before your site comes online, Jin Warrior. He's not sacred. That's an important thing to note, is that he is not sacred. But he's getting all of the package of stuff that all of the Jin do. He resists fire and shock, a little bit of shock, a lot of fire, and he's weak to cold. He's magical, ethereal, flying, glamored, unseen. He's weak to iron and salt. He's got spirit sight and magic power and storm immunity. So there are real vectors of weakness to really hurt these guys, because if you bypass their ethereal and glamour and unseen, then they are just wearing bronze and their stats aren't that great. Um, but if you can't do that, if you don't have spirit sight, you haven't crafted a lot of magic style, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Um, these are very annoying. These are very difficult to kill, and they're hard to spot on the map, and they're good. I think to a certain degree, you can probably expand with squads of these and just have them fly to the back and kill the commander. Um, now, Ubar has sight. Ubar can't start with an awake god, and when its god comes free, it gets the rest of its sights, which means it gets more sights than in gems than most other nations. It also means you never want to take imprisoned. You only want to take dormant on Ubar. So you get Janna, which increases your growth by one, which is why I tend to argue don't take growth three on this nation because you'll go up to growth three anyways. You get the City of Brass, and you get the Vault of Incense and Marbles, which means that you're getting one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 gems from your cap site, which is pretty nice, but also an extra 150 gold. So that's not bad. It also opens up a lot more recruits. We're going to talk about the non-commander ones here. The Guardians of the Forbidden Chambers. These are better Jin warriors. Um, their stats are better. Their scythe is magic. They have bodyguard. Um, Now, I think these are great if you need magic weapons because they're going to be recruitable magic weapon guy that's good with it in fighty, and he's got scale mail over bronze, so I believe his protection is a bit better. Or is it worse? It's worse actually. Um, Interesting. It's worse. Um, but if you're not urgently needing magic weapons, I think to a certain degree you might rather be just taking the Jin Warrior, who are a little, let's see, 50, 21, 27 versus 75, 27, 37. So there are moments where you're going to be really glad to be able to take the Forbidden Guards of the Forbidden Chambers, but there's also moments where you'd rather not spend the money. And as I said before, with the Brazen Guard, I think a lot of your commanders are going to not be that afraid of assassination battles. City of Brass. Now this like gives you some stuff. These are commanders, so we'll talk about them for a second. You get the Ifrit Warrior. This is a sacred. Now it's a holy 3 sacred, so you are not going to be getting very many of these. But hey, they're pretty high gold resource and recruitment points also, so you weren't going to be getting very many of these either. They have minimum leader size, so they can only be led by other Jin. And Big Jin too. But look at this lad. He's got his fire shield. He's got a 26 damage scimitar. He's got golden scale mail. He's got a heat aura. I mean, he's got all of the Jin tags plus firepower and a fire shield and heat. So scary guy, but also sufficiently expensive but hard to recruit that at that point you're probably thinking, why don't I just recruit the commander version of him? Which is a good question, and we'll get back to you in a minute. But we're not done. You don't get any more troops from the Vault of Incense and Marbles, so we'll move on to commanders. The Ubaran Scout is a scout. Um, there's not that much to say other than he's cheaper than an indie scout, and he's got some survivals. He's got Pillager, which isn't particularly useful, but he has it. I don't think I've ever seen anyone actually use Pillage, to be honest. Um, the Ubaran Commander is uninspiring, but he's also a Taskmaster +2. So, leading slaves, which is your non-desert warrior guys, he's going to be +1 morale. But otherwise, he's not a good commander. So I don't know how much I'm taking him over his other option of which you can recruit outside forts, so you don't have to waste cap turns, of the Baron Sheik, whose leadership is not as good, but he's also a tax collector and he brings 2 falcons. And again, outside fort, no saving fort turns, always nice. Um, Now we get into mages. Woo! Well, kind of. The Kahin is a priest and a low level mage. I think uh, there's some argument to be made for having these do certain level of research because they're sacred and recruitable and cheap. But you're also not going to find fire ones, earth ones, or air ones that useful as your research battery. Human Sahir, notably that these are taskmasters, but they don't have high enough leadership to really take advantage of it. So you're probably to a certain degree relying on the Ubar commander. As much as I said that I like the Sheik better because this might be better for expansion, but this is probably better for leading armies, or you're using your Jinamir, but you might not want him leading foot sloggers around when he could be leading flying glamour guys. Um, I'm talking a lot and have not really actually played this game in practice, so I may be completely off base in a lot of things and discover how wrong I am. But regardless, Zahir is fire and is inherently fire one, air one. He can be fire two or air two or fire air earth. Um, he's not sacred, but I don't know. The fire two and air twos are useful. Earth ones maybe less so, but earth a little bit of earth is nice. The Tubba, I was just talking about how you wanted a good researcher and wanted a good commander. Here you go, the Tubba. This is probably what you're taking for a lot of stuff. Um, he's uh, he's a fire one priest who can also be a fire two priest or a fire air priest or a fire earth priest. And he's 110 leadership with Taskmaster, and he's an adept researcher. And he might come with a Karine to back him up uh, in battles. So if you're leading parties, you probably want a Tubba, and if you're having your research monkeys, you probably also want a Tubba. I imagine you're recruiting a lot of these. Um, the Jin Amir is a commander and a thug and a light mage. He's got fire, earth, and then a little more fire. Sorry, fire, air. Fire, air, earth is basically like 95% of your mage pass, and he's got the usual. And then the genius here is a stronger, bigger mage. Um, 2-2-1, and then he can increase up to that, so he could be fire 3 or air 3 or glamour 2 or just earth 1. You're not getting very deep earth paths. And now we come back to the cap mage, sorry, the site mages. The Hurdy, you're probably not using these. Um, there's seducers, which is potent, but they don't have any paths, and you have a better seducer. Um, so high hurry, bye hurry, because we're going to the city of brass, um, where you have this is the Ifrit Sultan. This is the ruler of Ubar. He is 830 gold and 6 recruitment points. But look at what you are getting here. You're getting Fire 4, you're getting Air 2, you're getting Earth 1, you're getting Glamour 1, you're getting randoms. So you could be Fire 4, Air 3, or Fire 4, Earth 2, or if you're honestly perhaps slightly unlucky, you're getting Astral 1 and he gets Magic Duel and you cry. And if you're really lucky, you're getting the 10% random and you might be getting a Fire 5. But you're also getting 53 hit points with Heat 9 and a 15 damage Fire Shield, and then Fire and Magic Power. This guy's going to cast big spells, and he's going to chop shit up with his 28 damage Scimitar. He is unfortunately naked, so you're probably going to want to not. You're not. You're. I mean, he's ethereal and glamored, but still, you might want to put some armor on him. But he's competing with the Shaitan, who is cheaper, and not quite as good a mage. He can bring a little bit of blood to you, which is good. And and let's take a look at this tag here real quick. Not spy, though spy is nice. Not spirit sight, the spirit not is nice. Corruptor. What if you had better seduction? Corruption is a stealthy action that can be used against any commander with a mind. It must take place in a promised border with friendly territory unless the corruptor is able to fly away with the victim. Like, say, a shaitan who flies. Flying away can only be done with victims that are the same size or smaller. He's size 5. So, a lot of things. And with Fire 2, Air 2, Glamour 1, and the random possibilities and just the generally strong tags of a Jin, he's gonna win assassination battles. And if he doesn't win assassination battle, you're stealing people's mages. People are going to fear the Shaitan, which is one of the reasons why you're one of the other reasons why you're not going to have many Ifrit Sultan. Because not only are these expensive and 6 recruitment points, but you also kind of want a Shaitan. Um, because stealing people's mages, then they're your mages. Then you're getting their path access and their research and well, not their researches and getting the spells they have, but getting their research per turn. Uh, so yeah, those are pretty good. You're gonna be really glad to have that extra 150 gold a turn when you start having that cash sink. And we're gonna turn to heroes first and then summons. You have some good heroes. You have the Banu Silat. This is just a generic multi-hero, but we like multi-heroes because you can use them and they can die and you won't be sad. And you're getting strong leadership on a sacred chassis with okay magic, like your standard Ubar fire air light fire air earth glamour, um, with an enchanted weapon and 110 leadership, and he's flying. You're not going to be sad to get these. These are nice. They're not they're not as amazing as your other heroes, but they're nice. The Black King. The Black King is coming in here with check it out. 4 fire, 4 air, 1 water, sure, 1 water, 2 earth, which is about as high earth as you get anywhere in the fashion, 2 glamour, 2 blood, and he's an amphibian. He causes fear. His heat is 9. His fire shield is 16 damage. He has the same, and then his only bad side is he causes a little bit of unrest. I mean, he's got a gore attack. Um, So yeah, he's great. You're gonna be glad to have him when he comes. He's got a minimum turn to arrive that's like 13 or so. I don't remember what exactly exists, but these two come cannot arrive like first turn. Uh, Mother Ngla is also really strong because you're getting death access. You're getting a little bit of death to break you into death. She's blood 3, so she's the strongest blood mage. She's a blood searcher. She's an assassin. She Dominion monster summons. Uh, I think more ghouls. She's got 50. She's got all of the strong tags of a ghoul, 50 regen, etc. But really, you're getting both of these heroes. Beside, they're you're getting cool magic access. And now we're going to go into summons. The merit, I believe, is I'll have to look at what exactly this causes. Might be a blood summon, it might not. Merid are weirdly enough in some ways have stronger paths than their hypothetical king. Uh, but 44212, um, all of the things that the other shy like really the Black King is just a free Merid, and Merid are really strong mages with a terrifying number of tags, so a free Merid is great. Gula, we already kind of covered these. This is the Mother Ghoul is a better free Gula. Death one, Blood Searcher. Nice. Silat. You're getting fire, air, glamour. These are not necessarily breaking you into anything new, but they're good. The Great Lion is a lion that you can summon if you need to spend gems to desperately not die. The Hin, I believe, can are the Hin might be one of the creatures that can spawn as a guardian of priests, but you've got an ethereal dog. It's all right. The Bin have two attacks and are ethereal, um, and unseen. So these are nice. We already talked about Ghoul. Are these the same, or maybe there's something slightly differently? What's this one's slightly better. Um, so we're gonna look at a game real quick. As you can see, I made a couple of god ideas. I'm gonna go with the one I think I'm gonna pick, and I'll talk about the design in a minute. Because right now I just want to load this in so I can see the research screen. Pride of Lions, we saw nothing to really write home about. If you're desperate to spend nature gems for power and you have Conjuration 3, I guess it's not the worst option. The Hin, talked about, they're the dogs. The Salat are the caster. The Bin are better, but air water is a lot harder to get on your nation than air fire. It's basically only your Marids, I think, that are gonna get air water. So you're probably not really gonna be cat summoning Bin because your Marids probably have better things to do. Um, Speaking of Marids, here they are. Fire water. Again, fire water is not a thing you have, so you kind of might need to. It might be difficult because to a certain degree, to summon the Marids, you might need the Marid Keen, and then also to find a way to get him just one more water. And that's 60 water gems. So you're not getting many of these, particularly because you're probably not going to have great water income. Also, that proves that it's not a blood summon. Then, do you have any? We have other national spells. I think we get Smokeless Flame and Evocation. Scorching Wind is a fatigue, fire, air. Smokeless Flame. Here we go. Fire 3, air 1. So most of your Jin will be able to throw this out. This is a big, nasty cloud of combustion E fire. This is a great spell. You're glad to have. Um, Armor piercing, lingering cloud, combustion, good range. Yeah, evocation 6, which is a bit high up, but you throw out a lot of these, people are going to be hurt. Uh, Construction. I will look to see if we get any magic items in the Mon Inspector in a second. And then Blood Magic. Feast for Ghouls gets us a bunch of ghouls in a wasteland. Ghoulah summons a Ghoulah. That's it. So, view creative pretenders. Let's talk a little bit about things. Big Dave here was a thought about making a nice, nasty SC Titan, but the Anunnaki of Growth Rebirth, for all that he's a great chassis for that, I think going into Dom 6, we have perhaps somewhat inadvertently made Titans worse. And also, when I made this, I didn't think enough about the fact that I had magic power. So I think as Ubar, you probably want to get Magic 3. Similar story here with Sumerian Jump Scare. He has cold resistance to negate the cold weakness. He's breeding water to help get some more water gems, so maybe you can eventually do Marids. Um, Defense skill and twist bait are to try to make him harder, make the sacreds harder to hit, and twist bait should negate the first hit, which hopefully will help make glamour last longer because just getting one hit is a difficult roll. But no magic scales. Um, the golden idol here is providing blood surge and hard skin, but I ultimately went against him because I've decided that I want to have a god that can move around or at least teleport. So we're going with Akkadian Jump Scare, the sequel to Sumerian Jump Scare, which is very similar to the other design, only it does have Magic 3. I went with Fortune 2 because I want to get the strong heroes I get. Growth 2 because growth is good, but there's no reason to take growth 3 with the cap site. Sloth and productivity, I dumped a little bit. Productivity, particularly because I didn't think I needed that many resources for what are mostly slaves and people that aren't wearing clothing. And then he's got water and earth and astral, enough astral to teleport and not get magic dueled. I'm bringing cold resistance to compensate for the cold weakness. I'm bringing arcane command to help command some of the magic beings. Magic resistance, never bad. And twist bait again to try to like negate one hit on glamored ethereal guys that are going to ignore a lot of hits anyways should be particularly helpful. And he's dormant because if you're playing Ubar, you're taking your god dormant. Like, what else are you doing? I rarely try to take strong objective positions, both because I think Dominions is a really deep game with a lot of options, and also because I don't think that I'm qualified to make extremely strong objective stances a lot of the time. But if you are playing Ubar and you take your god imprisoned, you're wrong. And if you take your god awake, you're cheating. So you're taking your god dormant. Um, that's my hot take. You can yell at me in the comments. Please do not give me more engagement for my tiny channel that is mostly just me rambling to my computer mic because I don't have particular uh, equipment to record things. And now I'm quickly pulling up Ubar on the Mod Inspector. So for construction 5, with for 10 air gems with air 2, you can get a companion bracelet. The wearer of the silver bracelet is bonded with a Kara and a Generi spirit commander that protects him. It is unremovable. It gives research bonus +4. It makes you lucky, and it summons a Karin in battle. And the Karin are well, we'll pull them back up here real quick. Network, or no, sorry. Tools, Pretender God, Early Age, Ubar, Summons. Oh, actually, the Karin aren't on the summons list. Well, a Karin is, according to the Mod Inspector, a Astral 1, Glamour 1, female Jin. She's got, all of the Jin tags. Not particularly amazing combat stats, but she is ethereal and glamored and flying. you're not. I don't think you're necessarily taking the bracelet for the combat value of bringing a Karin, but it is. I mean, it's better. Basically, it's coming in a little bit later, but you're getting an error path research item that isn't the Owl Quill that also provides a certain amount of combat utility should you need to like bring out your research core for combat. So if you're making all of these guys be your research base, and they're probably, so you probably got a ton of fire twos and air ones, then you're just bringing in a shit ton of astral glamour mages who are going to be off script and maybe not that helpful, but as opposed to force multiplier, and now these will all be lucky. So I think that's good. I think that's a good magic item. That's pretty neat. Probably not worth rushing construction 5 for, but neat. And I think that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go real quick to network and EA, and we're gonna we're gonna load. Or sorry, we're gonna go Ubar, Kingdom of the Unseen, Acadian jump scare, and now we're in. So we'll see how it goes. It's got a fun set of names here with Iyad Nasir in Night Core Boar. Um, I think it'll be fun. Even if I'm a little disappointed I didn't get Fimori or Mekone, the two nations I kind of really wanted to play. It'll still be fun. And that'll be all. So I'll see you next time, either for more man or for the first turn of the early age Ubar. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'd like to thank all of you for watching. Goodbye.